Здравствуйте, меня зовут Злата Карлова, и сегодня в нашей серии лекций о трудностях русского языка для англоговорящих студентов мы поговорим о грамматике. Я расскажу вам о глаголах. I will tell you about Russian verbs and more to the point about Russian tenses and aspects о времени и виде русского глагола. Let's start with infinitive. Most Russian infinitives in and in t and soft sign. Например, to work – работать или to speak – говорить. But there are some verbs which end in t, like идти – to go, or ch – мочь – to be able to, can. Now we come up to the one of the most important grammatical categories of the Russian verb, the tense. And we will start with the present tense. Мы начнем с настоящего времени. First, we should remember that Russian present is always formed from the imperfective aspect, and we'll be talking about it in more details a little bit later. Secondly, unlike English, Russian verbs in present have 6 personal endings. For example, я работаю, I work. Ты работаешь, you work. Он, она, оно работает, he, she, it works. Мы работаем, we work. Вы работаете, you work. Они работают, they work. Russian verbs in present have 2 types, the first conjugation and the second conjugation. Существует 2 типа русского глагола. Глаголы первого спряжения и глаголы второго спряжения. Это важно при написании. This division is important while writing. The first conjugation's verbs have the repeating vowel «е». For example, the verb читать, to read. Я читаю, ты читаешь, он читает, мы читаем, вы читаете, они читают. The second conjugation's verbs have the repeating vowel «и». For example, the verb to speak – говорить. Я говорю, ты говоришь, он говорит, мы говорим, вы говорите, они говорят. Good news! Russian negation doesn't have any auxiliary forms. Just put «не» in front of the verb. Compare «я работаю» I work, «я не работаю» I don't work. That's all for present actually. Let's turn to the Russian past. А сейчас давайте поговорим о прошедшем времени. Russian past is easy to form. Just replace T in the infinitive form with A. Работать, работал. The important grammatical feature of the Russian past is род, gender, and число, singular or plural form. If the subject is masculine, я, ты, он работал. If the subject is feminine, we add а. Я, ты, она работала. If the subject is neuter, we add о. Оно работало. In plural, we add и. Они работали. That's it. Now we come up to the future tense, which has two forms, compound future and simple future. Compound future is always formed from the imperfective verbs. For example, читать, to read. Я буду читать. I will read. I will be reading. The simple future is formed from the perfective verbs. Прочитать, to have read. Я прочитаю. I will read. I will have read. Before we learn Russian verb aspects in more detail, let me say some words about verbs formation. Firstly, present tense, as I said before, is formed from the imperfective verbs only. Secondly, to form the simple future tense, we use this same set of endings as for present tense. And finally, Russian past is formed this same way for both imperfective and perfective verbs. Now come up to the verb aspects. Russian verb aspects show how the action proceeds. There are two aspects altogether: imperfective, несовершенный вид, and perfective, совершенный вид. It is easy to find the distinction between these aspects. Imperfective means the process, while perfective means the result of the action. This is the main difference between them. Imperfective несовершенный вид also means repeated or regular action, while perfective совершенный вид referred to the action happened only once. Imperfective also denote the states and facts in present, past, or future. Here are some examples to illustrate these grammar statements. Процесс, the process. Я читал целый день. I have been reading all day long. Результат, the result. Наконец-то я прочитал эту книгу. Finally, at last, I have read this book. Regular or repeated action for imperfective verbs as follows. Я читал каждый день. I read every day. Или я читала каждый день. That in English is the same. Compare with once action for perfective verbs. Я уже прочитал эту книгу. I have already read this book. Я уже прочитала эту книгу. Fact in the past for imperfective verbs can be illustrated as вчера я читала книгу и смотрела телевизор. Yesterday I read a book and watched TV. Yes, there is no direct equivalent in English, but there are some clues to help you work out the Russian verb aspects. English continuous basically corresponds to Russian imperfective and English perfect to Russian perfective. Finally, we'll learn how to form perfective verbs. There are three ways. The easiest via prefixes. Читать, прочитать. Then via suffixes. Решать, to solve, decide. Решить. And the third way when we use different stems. For example, to take. Imperfective брать. Perfective взять. On our main site, havefunwithrussian.ru, you can find a lot of grammar materials. I strongly recommend you to visit grammar section, the verb rubric, рубрику глагол, или or practice in our grammar and audio section, where you can also learn what case to follow after the certain verb. То есть в этой рубрике вы также научитесь глагольному управлению. Все наши материалы с аудио. Это очень важный момент. Вы читаете текст, слушайте, повторяйте и старайтесь сказать. You read the text, you listen to it, you practice saying, and finally start speaking. For determined student, для тех, кто очень хочет говорить по-русски быстро, качественно, you can visit our shop where you can buy books, our books, audiobooks, and sign up to our courses and classes as well as lectures. Ну, вот, в принципе, все, что я хотела рассказать вам сегодня. Учитесь с удовольствием и have fun with Russian. До свидания.